Brodes Media.
Hey everyone, before we talk about this Zack Wheeler dominant performance and the 5-3 loss to the Tampa Bay Rays, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for hitting this video, and make sure you smash that subscribe button. Also, hit that like button as well. I really do appreciate all the support. We have a Hump Day giveaway every Wednesday on my Twitter page at Brodes81. This week, giving away a Joel Embiid jersey. The information is pinned to the top of my profile. Make sure you check that out. All right, everyone, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. The Phillies lose again. They lost 7 of their last 10, and it's really brutal to watch. They're not fun. They're not an entertaining squad, and you watch them struggle and strike out 15 times a damn game, and it's ugly as hell. Here's what I will say about the strikeout debacle, though, that everyone's freaking out about, which there should be a reaction. I'm not acting as if it's ridiculous to feel frustrated that you're watching this team strike out constantly when they go to the plate. But all I'm saying is this. I'm watching other teams strike out a lot and still produce runs and still score runs. This Rays team is on one of the best streaks in baseball. They struck out 16 times, so they struck out more times than the Phillies did today. They are 33-20. They strike out the most amount per game as a team so far this season. 30th in Major League Baseball. Yet they are winning a ton of baseball games, 33 of 20. If they need something where they're putting the ball in play, they get it. You saw that happen in the 8th inning with Alavarado on the mound. You got some... Well, that's after he came in after Coonrod. But all around, you saw infield single with Randy Arozarena up the middle, even though Gene Segura tried to make a bang-bang play. It wasn't even that close, even though they had to overturn it. Coonrod throws something in the dirt. It was a horrendous pitch. I don't know why they went to that. JT Realmuto could not keep it in front of him. I'm not blaming him. I know the conversation of today's era of baseball, just like with strikeouts, it's how these catchers go on one knee. It was a disgustingly horrendous pitch that spiked the dirt incredibly. I mean, it's no one's fault, but when you don't know where it is, Randy Arozarena goes from first to third, it becomes a huge nightmare. You put the ball in play when Alavarado eventually gets in there, you score your winning run, and what do you know? The game is over. That was the 8th inning, bottom of the 8th. That's after you had in the top of the 8th, Gene Segura get a leadoff double. So you had 0 outs on the board. At the time, the game is tied. It's a tied baseball game. And you get someone on second base with 0 outs, and here's your at-bat. Well, Rhys Hoskins put together a really nice, good stroke that Kiermaier made a phenomenal play out in center field. It almost looked like it hit his glove so hard and so fast and so quickly that it almost popped out, and it was close to being an ice cream cone, if you will. But it was a really nice play. It was a hard hit ball. From there, Realmuto with a ugly at bat, probably the worst of the game by him. And then Alec Boehm, who continues to struggle and went hitless, he ended up grounding out, and from there you did not produce your run. So you did not cash in while the other team cashed in on multiple times. We'll get to that more in a minute. And poor defense. And it was a wild pitch. The throw sucked. There's no denying it. But after that, the ball gets flown around there, and Alec Boehm finds out where it is before JT Realmuto. You go from first to third with Randy Arozarena. You got speed on third base. You know they're going to knock in that run somehow. So sloppy defense was the problem. I also talked about, or I touched on the most strikeouts per game with the Rays. The Giants are 31-20, and they are 26th when it comes to strikeouts per game as a team. So I know it is inflating. The numbers are clearly wild all over the board, all over Major League Baseball. So with that being said, there's plenty of teams that are striking out a lot, and they're still providing runs. They're still getting those timely hits. They're still putting the ball in play. If there's 2 strikes and they need a dribbler down the first base side and Alvarado can't manage it properly, which would have scored a run anyway. But, you know, other teams are still finding ways to grind. That's all I'm saying. While it seems like with the Phillies, they can't. They don't. It's just a miserable brand of baseball. And I thought Ricky Bo had a great comment about this. And we've all touched on this season earlier as we discussed how upsetting it truly is to watch this team in the batter's box. You're not going up against the top dogs every single night. You're not going up against DeGrom. You're not going up against Chris Sale in his prime. You're not going up against these elite pitchers every single night where you should be getting canned and blown away pretty much nonchalantly every single damn night. Yarbrough starts the game off, and it's bang, 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 getting all these massive strikeouts. What are you doing? Come on. They figured it out a little bit as the second time through the rotation occurred, but still, I mean, there's no way in hell that he should be lighting your lineup up the way that he did throughout that first initial run-through of the lineup. This happens with every pitcher they face. That's why I don't give a damn. If it happens once in a while and some no-name or some random, I'm just saying hypothetically, throughout the league, ends up having a good day at the office again, so you tip your cap, you realize, you didn't have it that day, he probably had his best, and you move on. If it happens once in a blue moon, this is every single night, so it really is crushing. Zack Wheeler, 14 strikeouts. Listen to this versatility that you got from him when it's that payoff pitch, when it's that strikeout pitch for you to attack the opposing hitter. 4 fastball strikeouts, 3 sinkers, 3 sliders, 3 curves, 1 changeup. You're guessing. You're up there not knowing what's going to happen. What pitch is he going to get to next? It's deep into account. If it's deep into account, he's not afraid to utilize any of these pitches. You're in the strike zone, you're thinking, fastball. Well, that's a nasty slider. Or if you're a right-hander and here comes the slider, like, okay, that's a strike. I got to swing. Oh, my God, it was 5 feet off the plate outside. Yeah, good luck. And then the changeup's filthy. He could use so much. And it's something we've said for his last handful of starts. There's a reason why he had 3 straight 10 strikeout performances, because he's got command of all of his pitches. And he has so many damn pitches. And after the game, I heard him speak. And just the way that he's discussing the game, and he's talking about, well, back in the day, because in the 6th inning, he had 2 walks. And those 2 walks resulted in runs. In the 1st inning, he allowed a pitch to Meadows that should not have happened. And that's after allowing someone on base, so it's a 2-run shot. He made a couple mistakes. Ultimately, though, you go 7, you give your team 14 strikeouts, 3 earned runs, a couple of walks. You did your job. Nobody's pissed off with Zack Wheeler. But after the game, he talks about how he was discussing and having some conversation with Caleb Cotham, the new pitching coach. And back in the day, this would have been just a great outing for him, but now he gets eaten alive by it, and it just shows the growth. Those couple of walks will bother him. That pitch to Meadows will eat him alive. That might have not have been the case when he was with the New York Mets, and granted, he was struggling through injury, and he was trying to solidify himself, but now it's like he turned the page, and he's become an absolute dog, a real, true, insane competitor, a give-me-the-fucking-ball type of attitude. And it's amazing to watch. He was putting these guys down left and right. Did make a couple mistakes, though. And as I mentioned, the Phillies did not pounce on all of the opportunities. Well, for the most part, the Rays did it at a higher percentage. That's for damn sure. They get on the board early. Now, look, you did have some one little how do you do by the Phillies to get themselves back into the game when it was 2-0. In the 4th, JT gets on second, and you can tell that this team is starting to try to produce runs as much as possible, whether it's stealing second base. They're doing little things to give them an advantage. They're being aggressive on the base paths. They're trying to get that extra base, so you don't need to put together so many hits in a row because it's obvious and clear that they struggle in that area. So in the 4th, JT lands on third base, but Brad Miller strikes out. In the 5th, Odubel Herrera with a walk. And if you watched Odubel Herrera, this isn't the first time he's done it all year, but he earns a walk, and he gives you some high-energy clapping, throws the bat towards the dugout, and that might seem silly, right? Brodes, what the hell are you talking about? You're telling me that you see something out of Odubel Herrera clapping? And you know what? Honestly, yeah, I think that there's something to be said about Odubel's energy, his presence, the way that he attacks the game. There's something about his personality out there on the field that is an Energizer Bunny. There is a spark plug effect. There is something that brings some energy to this team when they need it, when there needs to be life. And Odubel Herrera earning that walk forced that to kind of happen. From there, Roman Quinn puts down a bunt and he gets on base. Now we're talking about 1st and 2nd. Torreyes doubles, knocks both runs in. He ends up getting to 3rd on the play, but there was some dramatic things to occur here. And Roman Quinn slips as he's running around third base, going to home, and it's actually really gruesome. I didn't catch it the first time, but the more and more I watch the replay, if you watch Roman Quinn when he falls face first and he plants his left leg, you can see that twice as he's running before he lifts his leg up and then casually has to hop into home plate to score the second run to tie the game. His foot actually flat out gives out. It has nothing and basically crumbles into pieces. You can see by the ankle area where his foot is. I mean, it collapses both of those steps. It reminds me of just a couple UFC pay-per-view events ago. There was a kick, and after the kick happened, the guy's knee broke completely, and when he plants his foot back down on the ground, I don't know why I'm doing these hand motions as if I'm some, karate UFC guy. I can't believe I just put karate and UFC in the same thing. I mean, there's so much more to the table in UFC, so shame on you. When he planted his foot, though, I just did it again. I did the hand motion again. When he planted his foot, it made me nauseous with the one UFC. I think it was UFC 261. I forget exactly which one it was, but regardless, same thing happened with Roman Quinn, and it's a shame. It really is. I feel really bad for the guy when you get carried off in that way. It's a lot more heartfelt moment because you know how much this guy has been battling. At the same time, and I'm not saying anything negative about Roman Quinn after today because when you go through something like that, you don't deserve it. There is something to be said, whether it's unfair, unlucky. This has been something that has been through his career for a long time. They're saying it's a left Achilles. I wouldn't be surprised if the worst case scenario happened. It did look that way. I guess I should say I would be surprised if it was anything but the word that we don't want to say after Achilles, that we have seen a lot of athletes have that's super scary. There is this narrative, though, and we know it, and I'm not, I don't want to stress on it a lot, but the Roman Quinn experience has been all the time, where it has been some sort of injury, whether it's the extreme of the extreme or very low and something that's just lingering. No matter what it is, why it happens, unfair, unlucky, it just continues to happen with Roman Quinn, so it just keeps occurring to him, unfortunately. So I don't know what this means for Roman Quinn long-term here, but I'll tell you what, it's very possible you've seen the last. So it's a terrible moment for him. So anyway, the Phillies lose the lead 3-2. That tied the game up, actually, 2-2, but they lose the lead 3-2 after Zack Wheeler allows a couple walks on base. Choi. Bada bing, bada boom. And I'll tell you what, I love this Rays team. I'm actually weirdly obsessed with this Rays organization. They trade Snell. They'll move on from this guy, that guy. It doesn't matter. They don't feel like paying any players, and yet they're still in the mix in a division where the Boston Red Sox are in play, when the New York Yankees are in play. Now, I'm not telling you they literally light the world on fire every single season, but just based off of circumstances, based off of market size, looking at who they have to compete with every single year, this new regime and this new identity of Rays baseball over the last handful of years has just been so damn incredible to watch, and I love it. I truly love it. Last year, watching G-Man Choi in the playoffs, Lau in the playoffs, Randy Arozarena, of course, that's the obvious. That's the name I should have started off with, but the way he was hitting the long ball in the World Series, the storyline of last year, the Dodgers and getting Friedman and how much money they can spend, trying to utilize the same method, if you will, while the Rays do it with less money. I loved watching this team over the last few years. And who Joey Wendell, like, come on, Kiermaier. I weirdly love this team. They grind, man. They really do grind. I just thought in the seventh, it's hysterical to watch Matt Joyce, who's 0 for 28 in his recent run, hit a home run lefty of all things to tie the baseball game back up. There was a moment where I thought, you know what, this is kind of over. It is what it is. This team looks dead. This team isn't going to be able to fight back. They do. They lose the lead. It's like, really? They're gonna come back and rally back and fight back. And I mean, sure, they did it. When did they do that? It was their last game where Odubel ended up hitting the triple off the wall, getting knocked in because of a poor play. Who was that again? Oh, the Marlins. That was that last Marlins game where they split the series 2-2. You know, it happens here and there, and you're shocked when it does. But majority of the time, you're going to get this result, which is not enough. Not enough. Eighth inning, Gene Segura's double to lead you off, and still absolutely nothing. So There you go. You're in a spot now where you're 25-27. You're in third place. I hate to go over what place you are in every single time because it's always flowing. It's always moving up and down, especially in a division where everybody's so close and so tight and so involved. But the Braves move up and the Mets are there. And I know every team's getting injured and whatnot, so it's not just the Phillies that have that excuse. The Mets are not full capacity. You get JT Realmuto back. You're still missing Bryce Harper, so you have to use players that should not be playing every single day. You do get JT back, which is large in the big window here, but you can't use that you don't have your players available as the excuse. Plenty of other teams are going through the injury bugs, and we've seen pretty much the Mets doing it right now. The Atlanta Braves real early on with their starting rotation pieces. That's where it impacted them right from the jump. Like you start the season off and bang, you're losing your players right from the get-go. It's hard to kind of get back on the road. They're slowly starting to do it while the Phillies are slowly heading in the wrong direction. It's just this, if you look at this timeline of the last 2 weeks or so, it's this steady, ugly, really disgusting style of play that is not fun. It's not fun. All I asked for it was nothing crazy. It was really nothing crazy. I just asked for watchable baseball. I wasn't even asking for winning baseball. Watchable baseball. Give me something that entertains me where I run to the TV because I know that they are on and they're on a nice fun run and they won their last 2 and can they win 3 in a row and they're on the road and they're playing well in front of the opposing fans and they're getting booed and, that's all. Just give me entertaining baseball. They definitely 100% are now a team where I don't have that excitement when they're on. I watch them. It feels more like I'm forced to watch them than it is I love this team. It reminds me of what happened this past football season where on Sundays at 1 o'clock, you weren't excited. When it's 10 a.m., you're making your eggs, you're making your cup of coffee. The Eagles are going to be playing that day. It's like, oh, damn, here we go again. Here we go again. Sort of like that meme. Here we go again. And that's kind of where I am right now with this Philly squad. It sucks. Zack Wheeler, you get a 14K performance, 3 earned runs. You got to win that baseball game. You just do. Coonrod struggled. Alvarado, I'd stop putting him in spots where there's players on base. He's all over the place. He's going to hit a batter. He's going to walk a batter. He's going to get a strikeout. If you do it where he gets a clean inning and nobody's on, well, then you can get away with a couple walks and a couple weird pitches or whatever, a weird sequence here and there because he'll strike out one, have that bad sequence, strike out another, have that bad sequence, strike out a third with a 100-mile-per-hour pitch or a low 90, mid-90 off-speed pitch, and then from there, you walk to the dugout and you left 2 stranded or you left bases loaded, but you strand them all. That's not really the case when you inherit runners and there's 2 guys already on. Okay, now here's Alvarado. He's going to hit a batter. He's going to allow a hit. It is what it is. So I think Alvarado is somewhat of a, clean inning guy, which limits you. You don't have many options. Sam Coonrod hasn't been the sharpest in the world the last couple of times he's been on the mound. I remember referencing a part of the game where, he wasn't dialed in the way that we need him to be. And Archie Bradley, is Archie Bradley the move? You got more of Joe Girardi's, what's the word I'm looking for here just the attitude problem. The attitude problem that he's given the reporters. You got more of that because I forget who exactly asked the question, but they followed up from what happened in their last opportunity speaking to him where he's like, I'm not telling anybody anything. It's a manager's decision. We talk to people inside the organization, and that's what we're going to do. So he was asked about that. What exactly does that mean? He said, if there's someone on the roster, they're available. It's unfair to us because now other teams know. Like, okay, the fact that how about you focus on playing better defense, hitting the baseball, not striking out so much, your bullpen stepping up a bit more. How about you focus on that before you worry about one player who might not be available but is available or who isn't available and he might not be available but you don't want the other manager to. That's 9th on my fucking list. That's 9th, 8th on my list of things I need to worry about before that becomes a huge true factor. You're not winning or losing games right now because the other team knows who's on your bench or not. I'm not saying that's not important. I think that there is that's a little strong. Important. No, I don't think it's like insanely important. Do I understand the value of it? So the opposing manager has to think about, okay, what does the other team have that might affect who I put into the game in a reliever situation? I get why it is discussed. But don't you feel that this is getting so heavily like sucked into these upper management, whoever front office members are discussing this so much as if they're focused are on the wrong thing? Why don't we figure out the team, everything surrounding a good brand of baseball before we start nitpicking who the reporters want to find out is active and can play or not? It's absolutely insane. What also is insane is how much money you can win utilizing DraftKings Sportsbook. It's playoff time. Big stakes, bigger promotions. DraftKings Sportsbook is putting you courtside with a chance to turn $5 into $200. That's 40-1 odds on any basketball game. All you have to do is pick any team that is still in the hunt for the trophy. And if that team wins, you receive $200 in free credits. That's right. Pick any team that is still in contention. Bet $5. If that team wins, you cash $200 in free credits. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to turn $5 into $200 in free credits. Bet on any basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you can claim $200 in free credits. That's promo code Brodes for a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, new customers only. Wager paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's rock and roll with the Anytime Hotline here and hear from the people.
Hey, Brodes. Long-time listener, first-time caller, reporting live from Tropicana Fields. You know, the Phillies today lose a very tough game today. But, you know, on the bright side, Zack Wheeler was electric, man. 14 strikeouts, man. Like, that's just insane. Like, I think it overlooks the two-shot homer that he allowed in the first inning. He was just amazing. You know, Roman Quinn, like, I don't know if he killed a priest or something, but, man, like, that guy has, like, a bad injury bug right now. So hopefully he's all good. Hopefully it's nothing that serious. And, yeah, hopefully they can bounce back tomorrow and go Phils.
Go Phils. Thank you so much, one, for calling in for your first time. Two, calling from the ballpark in Florida. That's amazing. Tropicana Field, getting the buzz, calling the Anytime Hotline from the game. That's beautiful. Roman Quinn, it's serious. It's serious. I did not expect you to throw that line at me about doing what he did to possibly have this happen to him. Sometimes it's just pure unlucky, and I think it's more about that. But, yeah, I mean, it's definitely serious, unfortunately. Zack Wheeler was crazy good. I mean, Zack Wheeler was just so dynamic, and I just want to really focus on what I brought up earlier, which was the way that he did it, the way that he struck out these hitters. Think about being in the box and knowing that, well, let's say he has 7 strikeouts already, and I don't know exactly how those first 7 went in terms of what pitches they were to close it out off the top of my head, but let's just hypothetically say 2 were sinkers, 2 were sliders, 2 were fastball, 1 was a changeup, and here you are with 2 strikes on you, you're up to bat. What are you thinking? There's guys where 2-pitch pitchers are very rare unless you're it's tough. More bullpen than starters. It's tough to live that lifestyle anymore in today's era of baseball. But, you know, like sometimes you know a put-away pitch. Sometimes you know, like, what guy has what factors. Like if you're Hector Neris, for example, you have the splitter. You know about the splitter. You're thinking you got 2 things here that's coming. You got the fastball, you got the splitter. We were all excited about the slider. I've seen it a couple times. One time I wanted to throw up from how bad it was. Another time I was like, whoa, what the hell was that? So clearly a work in progress. And you could see why someone like Hector Neris would be trying to implement a new slider to his repertoire. With Zach, you got all that up there. 4 fastballs, 3 sinkers, 3 sliders, 3 curves, 1 change. And that curveball is so damn awesome. That curveball is insane. When you look at the top of the lineup for the Phils, though, if we look at how they produced, Andrew McCutchen, 0 for 4. Gene Segura, 1 hit and a walk. Rhys Hoskins, 1 for 4. JT Realmuto, 0 for 2. And Bohm, 0 for 2. Brad Miller, 0 for 2. Or is that 0 for 3? JT was 0 for 3 as well. Sorry, my screen was a little too far away from me. Just to repeat, 0 for 4 Cutchin, Segura 1 for 3, Hoskins 1 for 4, JT 0 for 3, Brad Miller 0 for 3, Bohm 0 for 4, Odubel 0 for 3. He did have that big walk, though. So your top of your lineup into your middle of your lineup, not the most productive days. You got 2 hits. 2 hits from that middle core of Segura and Rhys Hoskins. So that's not successful baseball. I'll tell you that for free.
You know, it sucks for me as a Phillies fan that it's not even June 1st, and I know that my baseball season is over. I can't even watch this team play 9 innings anymore. It just frustrates the living hell out of me. I feel so bad for guys like Zack Wheeler that have to pitch in front of this garbage, that I can go 7 innings, give up 3 runs, strike out everybody under the sun, and the best I can do is leave with a no decision. Because not only can my team not hit, but my bullpen sucks too. Can someone explain to me what Jose Alvarado is doing in the 8th inning of a tie game? When you have Austin Meadows 0-2, you need a strikeout, you throw over 100 miles an hour, and you lay a breaking ball in there for him to get a bat on to drive in the winning run.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I love that take with the Alvarado thing. I understand if you want to go down the road of with players on, he's probably not the guy to go to. But in that specific scenario, yeah, he throws hard, but if he failed and threw hard and it went past JT Realmuto, went over his head, you'd be saying, why the hell are you throwing it there or whatever? I mean, yeah, I know your counter would be then just throw the damn strike like you can throw one because when you do, it's so damn powerful. I get it. But the dude hit a chopper that was so bad. I mean, that's a terrible little chopper that in that circumstance ended up being big. But if that happens 99 out of 100 times, the Phillies win that battle in that specific moment. So, you know, there are things of just being unlucky. There are moments where you do the right thing and something just unfortunate happens, and with an 0-2 count, throwing that pitch for it to just be a little dinky-ass dribbler that goes 6 feet down the line. I know in theory it was enough to win the game, but I don't yell at Alvarado for that. I'd rather yell at Alvarado for hitting a batter or being all over the place. It's a little dinky-ass dribbler. Yeah, I'm not going to yell at him there. I don't like him being in that specific moment, though, with bases inherited. When you inherit some base runners, that's where I think Alvarado is going to be dicey all over the map. I'd be more pissed off that Sam Coonrod throws a 92 in the dirt that way. JT can't find it, and now you're getting Randy Arozarena, who had an infield single, who ends up going from first to third. That bothers me more than the Alvarado pitch in general. The conversation of JT Realmuto calling a game, though, with that Sam Coonrod pitch, I think that resurfaces a bit. You know, I don't think JT's bad at it by any means, but this team baffles me. There's no doubt about it. This team baffles me, and they're in a tough spot because it doesn't seem like there's anything that's truly going to pull them out of this. It seems like this is their identity. You look and watch so early on to figure out how is this team going to play, what's going to be something that is common when they consistently take the mound and when they consistently take the field. You could rely on X. After 50-plus games, something will show its head. Well, I don't really know what you can rely on other than, you ready for this? Zack Wheeler and Vince Velasquez. Did I really just say that? No, I'm just having some fun with that. Zach Eflin? Yeah, I don't know if you can fully rely. I think the only person I can really say that is Zack Wheeler. That's the only consistent pitcher at this point that I can truly rely on. I guess you could say Zach Eflin with the 6 innings, but it's not as clean. It's not as crisp. I'm not knocking Zach Eflin at all. I guess maybe he does deserve to be in that conversation. If you say I can rely on Zach Eflin to get me 6 innings, I guess, yeah, you can. So let's throw Zach Eflin in there. I think he's a tier below the strong play of Zack Wheeler, but that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong considering the high praise that Zack Wheeler deserves to get at this point.
Well, that happened. Not overall too upset about this one, especially how we kept our own against one of the best teams in baseball. Still, the bullpen's got to get it together. Hopefully we go out there tomorrow and turn it around. That's really all I have.
I think a little too optimistic for me. I'm not going to lie. You know, like, oh, you know what? The Rays are the best team in baseball. I've seen the same issues with this Phillies team all season long, so that's what bothers me. Nothing's changing. They're not fun. They should have been able to win this baseball game. I mean, at least score when you could have had JT Realmuto get knocked in that fourth inning, or get Gene Segura around in the eighth inning to score. And if you would have lost the game then, sure, I still would have been upset because the bullpen would have blew it. But at the same time, I would have felt better because you got your timely hits down and you scored as many runs as you could. And then it's just one problem. But now I still look at this team with multiple problems of not only can they hit, but their bullpen is slacking a bit as well. Instead of saying, well, your bullpen blew it, but at least you can feel better about other areas with this team, albeit they don't have their fully healthy roster and their most lethal lineup available for you today. That is acknowledged. And I also acknowledge that you're not going to get every timely hit possible. There will be times where runners get stranded, but knowing that that's such a key, crucial part of this team, and you got to pounce because you don't score a lot of runs right now. It's got to start somewhere, and that's got to be getting that hit for your team. That was two callers in a row that mentioned the bullpen as if they're like some insane disaster. I just think I have a mentality with this that knowing how putrid they were last year, to expect someone to fix it fully in one offseason is just unfair. I just don't think it's fair. So with what he did and what was made this season, I don't know. I have a cap on frustration of how bad the bullpen is. I've stressed this a billion times. I think they're just there. They're just there. They're more towards the back end of Major League Baseball than they are the front end. Obviously, if you think of like 15, let's say 15 is ranked middle, they're probably, I'm just like, just saying like in that 20 area of 30 teams, in that ballpark, in that range or so. So they're more towards the back if you're talking about the back half and the middle section. But you know what? Think about where they were last year. I just don't know how you can imagine this team snapping their fingers and everything being fixed constantly. So that's kind of how I feel about them as we sit here today. Before we head out of here, Orbit Energy and Power. They are home to your solar experts. If you're looking for $0 electric bills, give them a phone call at 800-836-3987. They also provide water purification systems, clean, healthy water for you and your family, backup energy services, battery storage, tree removals, electrical upgrades, and so much more. They are located in Mantua, New Jersey, with many other locations as well. New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Florida, you name it. Give them a phone call, 800-836-3987, or visit their website at orbitenergy.us. Little quick 2-game set, a lot of afternoon games. They play again tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.